Has a missing woman been found in a TikTok video? The disappearances of 6 people were actually uncovered a few years back, and now they have been linked to an online cult that is said to have been linked to disappearances as well as murders. And the cult leader, well, he's in prison, but he's still posting from there. This is a community that is said to have been brainwashed into these certain thoughts and actions and beliefs. You are such a genuine gem. Thank you for clicking on my video. I am Brooke Makenna, and we focus on the victims over the killers every single time. So subscribe if that's also what you look for in your true crime content. Give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. I also want to give a huge thanks to our sponsors that allow me to continue telling these stories, and today is Cash Giraffe. If one of your New Year's goals is focusing on budgeting and earning more money, then Cash Giraffe is going to be perfect for you. It is a free gaming loyalty rewards app that lets you earn real money for playing popular mobile games. It's free to download with no fees, no ads, and you just pick a game, you level up, you earn gems, and then you can cash out via PayPal, Amazon, and more. And all you have to do to get those rewards is enter your email. It's not this scam. You never have to put in your credit card information. It's awesome. I've been playing for a few weeks now on my lunch breaks, and it's so easy to use. You can actually go in, download whatever game you want to play that you picked, and then you can look at all of your tasks on Cash Giraffe. You can look at the game progress and your rewards, and then when you're ready, you can withdraw your funds for these rewards. I'm currently saving up for an Amazon card because I like to spend a little too much on there. So if I can have some extra money that I can put towards that, that's a way that I can definitely try not to spend as much this year. But you can download Cash Giraffe with my link down below, and new users actually get 3,999 gems as a welcome bonus to get you started on earning more money in the new year. I will have that linked down below. I think these apps are so cool and such a good way to earn a little extra cash. I think they're also great for teenagers who are trying to earn money but aren't necessarily in the age bracket in order to do so. So highly recommend. Now let's get back to the story. So back in 2023, 6 people were renting a home in Berkeley, Missouri. This was nearby St. Louis and the International Airport. This was 29-year-old Nauman Williams, 23-year-old Michaela Thompson, 26-year-old mother Jarrell German, and her 3-year-old son Ashton Mitchell, as well as 25-year-old mother Michaela Wilkerson and her 3-year-old daughter Malaya. Now in August of 2023, Michaela Wilkerson's mother, who is Cartisha, she called the police worried about her daughter and her granddaughter, whom she had not been able to get into contact with for months. One of the other missing people, Michaela Thompson, was also their cousin, so they knew of this girl as well, and they knew that several of them were missing. Cartisha said she had tried to send out police for welfare checks. She tried to send CPS for her granddaughter for them to intervene, but nothing ever came of it. Back when Michaela had actually cut off contact, she had quit her very good corporate job at JP Morgan and Chase. She maxed out her credit cards and she completely isolated herself from family. Now, detectives in Berkeley, Missouri searched this home that she was renting and that the 5 other people were living in and found no signs of foul play, but they also found no signs of the 6 individuals. Their stuff was there, but they were not. So the investigation led to the discovery of a hotel in which they had been staying at. This was the Quality Inn Hotel in Florissant, Missouri, which was about 9 minutes from their home. The group was seen there, last seen on August 6th. They had been said to have checked in on the 2nd and left the 6th. They were no longer there and no one had heard from them since. But neighbors at the Berkeley residence where they were renting claimed that they would often see these residents outside of the home, but they were acting very strange. They would go in the backyard, they would start looking up at the sun, they would sit in the tall grass with their palms upwards, and they were also seen hugging trees, burying coins, and they believed to be worshiping the sun. Now, when it was raining, they would all run outside naked and run around the yard. The home was found to have been rented in the name of Michaela Wilkerson, and they had received several eviction papers prior to this. Now, her mother, Cartisha, stated that Michaela was very family oriented. She would never cut everyone off or quit her job, and her leaving without ever saying anything was not normal. Michaela had been living with her back in 2022, and she was pregnant with Malaya. And she ended up moving out in November of 2022 after having her daughter and going to Missouri. And her mother was worried that Michaela was suffering from some sort of depression following the birth of her daughter, postpartum depression, and she was preyed on due to that. She said Michaela had told her she was feeling overwhelmed as a mother prior to her cutting off contact, but when Michaela had made the choice to move to Berkeley and rent her own place, her mother was very happy for her, and she was making this move on her own. She was taking care of her daughter, so she thought this was a good thing. However, just a few months later, she stopped showing up for work, and then Cartisha actually went to the residence in Berkeley to try to talk to her daughter because she was no longer answering phones, and Cartisha was met by a man that she said she had never seen before holding a gun at Michaela's residence, this Berkeley, Missouri home. He would not let her in, and Michaela would not go outside to speak with her. Then, a few months later, everyone in that residence vanished. You see, Michaela Wilkerson, her 3-year-old daughter Malaya, as well as their cousin Michaela Thompson, were all from the St. Louis area prior to this, so it wasn't a huge move to Berkeley, Missouri. Michaela Thomas also was a mother, but she had left her child at home with her own mother. But the other residents of this home were not from the Missouri area. Nauman Williams was from Washington, D.C., but was found to have been running a business out of his St. Louis home prior to disappearing called the Crystal Clarity. Now, this offered metaphysical items and life clarity via readings. Jarrell German and her 3-year-old son Ashton were actually from Lake Horn, Mississippi, and Jarrell had moved abruptly, according to her mother. Jarrell had started meditating outside and quoting a man that she had heard on social media, and her mother was saying she started talking about high frequencies and cosmic husbands, and that she was just kind of acting weird, but they didn't know that anything was necessarily wrong or would lead to her vanishing. Jarrell came to the family and she said she was going to Missouri, but while she was taking her son, she was leaving her 4-year-old daughter. Now, she didn't want to discuss how her family reacted because they, of course, were asking her to rethink this, but she ended up leaving. So all 4 of these adults had met online and they decided to move in together in Berkeley. Detectives thought at this time they would just resurface when they ran out of money, and it was just a matter of time and going through the motions in order to find them. So Cartisha pointed investigators to the direction of an online group that was often referred to as a cult. This was led by a man with an online platform named Rashad Jamal. Rashad had created the University of Cosmic Intelligence, where he described himself as a poet, a philosopher, a revolutionary, cosmic scientist, yogi, spiritual guru, messiah, and luminous being, an ascended master sent back to help enlighten the planet and raise the vibrations of the collective consciousness. In his bio on YouTube, Rashad stated that he had received much hate from those who are aligned with Satan and seek to discredit his teachings through the spread of misinformation. His slogan is Exit Earth, Enter Reality. Now, the first video on this YouTube channel was posted August 31st of 2020. He describes what his channel is about and introduces the UCI, the university.
I opened this YouTube channel, University of Cosmic Intelligence, starting today. This is only for the 5th dimensional beings, those beings who are still stuck on the 3rd dimension. This channel might not be for you. You might not agree with a lot of things that will be said on this channel. A lot of things might confuse you. I ask you to enter this university with an open mind.
Started out as pretty common conspiracy theories and beliefs, the law of attraction, weather control, aliens. And then he started diving into how his followers were gods and goddesses, but it wasn't just a name he was giving them. He believed that Black and Latino people were God, and that He was just a messenger in a new avatar.
What is human actually? What we see is not what we see. It's an illusionary world that has been pulled over our eyes. It's a veil, all right, made to blind everybody. The truth is that humans are not from this planet, and that everybody walking around on this planet are not one. We are not the same, because the original name of this planet is Kai, not Earth. These humans were created on a planet called Nern, all right, by Zeus, all right. Zeus was actually one of the gods. Your black people and your brown people, which would be your Latinos, all of those races are naturally from this planet of Kai. The humans were created from the lemur, the dog, and the pig. The actual pig was actually used to graft the skin, which is why a lot of Caucasians and Asians, they can't take direct sunlight. We are very, very powerful beings, all right? These avatars are very, very powerful. So a lot of your superhero movies were made about our DNA and what these avatars can do. We are not our avatars, though. We are not these bodies. We are spirit and soul. We are all. We are, interconnected. So a lot of your elites, you're powerful. A lot of these people are all of them are reptilians, all right? They are not from this planet.
This channel amassed 234,000 followers on YouTube who believed in Jamal's spiritual teachings geared toward enlightening and illuminating minds of Black and Latino people who believed in polygamy, anti-government, and encourages people to go off-grid. He also opened up a TikTok, Rashad site, where he has 149,000 followers, and he claims to be a student sharing his recordings from his class.
Nigga, Atlanta is a manufactured, man-made thing. Our ancestors never needed. We didn't need no Atlanta City. We didn't need no streets running through our forests. This was a huge. This realm is magical. It was a huge magical forest. They came and killed it and put apps all over shit. Killed your whole planet. Like when you go outside, you need to look at it from a forest point of view, because you can still see what a forest was. It was just that big that they couldn't destroy the forest.
His Instagram has 129,000 followers. And so he is definitely very known in the online space of the spiritual guru teachings that can be dangerous, especially to those who are mentally vulnerable. And he was posting consistently for years.
First get here, they inject you with nanobot technology. They separated you from your real mom and dad at birth. Nigga, we don't never die. We keep coming back. We just take on different avatars and different energy cycles to get the message out there. Every generation is sent a messenger. It's the way that the ancestors keep the balance fair. Nigga, it ain't one prophet that walked earth that was loved when they was alive. I don't expect motherfuckers to love me or any other guys to stepping up and putting our avatars on the line for our people.
So all four of these missing adults from Berkeley, Missouri had connections and references to Jamal on their Facebook profiles. All had been extremely active on there prior to August 6th, and then it abruptly stopped. They had all also changed their names in honor of what they believed to be spiritual gods or goddesses, and that they were becoming them. Namid Williams was going by Anubis Aramean. Michaela Thompson was going by Entu Anum Akhmet. And Michaela Wilkerson was going by Entuma Aquaman Ontil. Detectives also found that the followers of this man all kind of exhibited the same behavior. They were disconnecting from family, from loved ones. They had a desire to go off the grid completely, to quit their jobs and embrace sovereign citizenship. The group would call the Earth planet Kai, and they were members of the Grand Cosmic Rising family. So police started looking more into this Rashad Jamal, and he found that his real last name was White. And he was not just this harmless internet personality. He was actually, at the point of their disappearances, serving time in Georgia prison for child SA. He had been indicted in 2021 and arrested a year later. The victim being his ex-girlfriend, Darshell Smith's 10-year-old daughter. He denied doing this, but he was denied bail and deemed a flight risk and a danger to the community. He also had a previous record where he pleaded guilty to battery and strangulation during domestic abuse in 2018. So his ex-girlfriend Darshell Smith had spoken out that Rashad frequently was screaming and ranting at her and her children. And after she had gone to the police with these allegations of her daughter's SA, she had received harassment from his followers. Thousands of these people stood behind this man, saying that these punishments were cruel and unusual, and that it was a deliberate plot to silence him. His bio then stated, #free Rashad Jamal. So while awaiting Rashad's trial, it was found that another alleged follower of this man had committed a murder. 23-year-old Damian Washam from Alabama was arrested on January 16th of 2022 after his mother, Helen, was found dead inside of their shared home. His father and Helen's husband, Hubert Washam, had found his wife's body. 61-year-old Helen was in the back room with 19 cuts to her head, her back, and her arms. Her thumb was also severed. One of her sons was found to have been cut on the wrist, and a bedridden uncle who lived there with cerebral palsy had also been injured. Damien, her son, was found on the run after this murder, and he was caught with a samurai sword in his front seat. He attempted to run from the authorities and was tased and taken to the hospital for those injuries. A few days later, he was escorted into the sheriff's office and questioned for about an hour before being taken to jail. But even after speaking with him, investigators stated they still didn't have a motive. He was booked on murder, attempted murder, and assault charges. And it was stated that he had absolutely no remorse whatsoever, which was the most shocking part for investigators. He pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease, but didn't have a lawyer, and stated that his dad was going to get him one. However, his dad, Hubert, said that he didn't even know his son was in court at that time. He had tried to talk to Damien while he was in jail, and he didn't talk much and didn't sound like himself. During a hearing, a detective testified that Damien had told him that this all started over a fight over marijuana, and that he lost it. He picked up this sword and he began slashing, that he overreacted. He said he chased his mother through the house into the back hallway where he killed her. He didn't recall striking his uncle, but he was shown photos of the bloody bed where he had been lying, and so he said that, yeah, he must have done that.
Hubert Washam says he's still devastated by what happened at his home on Mossap Road on Sunday. He says he'd gone out to get some food and couldn't reach anyone when he tried calling home. Then he says his son called saying that his mom was dead and Damien had hurt her.
We did ask for the maximum bond in this case under the new schedule of a $1.5 million bond based on just the severity of the attack. It was just a very, very heinous, senseless crime, very horrific incident that took place. And then on top of that, he did, flee the crime scene.
The public defender that he was granted stated that her client was suffering from mental illness and asked the investigators about Damien's mental state at the time. Now, the investigator stated that Damien talked about Greek mythology and the sun god and was just kind of making odd statements. The detective also said he spoke to Hubert, his father, who believed that Damien was having problems at this time and he didn't seem like himself leading up to the incident. It was revealed that he had almost decapitated his mother with a sword. The judge determined that the prosecutors had presented sufficient evidence to send this case to trial. Damien was evaluated to see if he was fit to stand trial. It was found that he was, based on his current mental state, but they were supposed to check about his mental state at the time of the murder, so he needed to have another evaluation. Now, his father, Hubert Washam, stated that Helen was a super dedicated mother to 4 children. She was a sweet and innocent person, and he said that finding her is something he will never get out of his head. He said that his son became interested in these online conspiracy theories shortly before the murder took place, and he had no known mental illnesses prior to that. He was particularly fascinated by a series of videos by Rashad Jamal. His father stated he started listening to this crazy group of people that was cult-like, and he even sent the link to his sisters and started telling them about getting energy from the sun. He began buying disturbing items, including a knife, a torture-type brass knuckles with spikes, a poster of Osiris, the Egyptian god. Then he bought a sword, another knife, and other stuff that Hubert now says seems as though he was planning to kill them. Packages of strange items were still arriving after the murders that he would turn over to police. Hubert stated that he had tried listening to these videos and that he thought that they were dumb. They were about lizard people and aliens, but he said that his son must have spent around $3,000 to $5,000 on the crystals that he was learning about from this man. Now, while awaiting not only Rashad Jamal's trial for child SA, but Damien's trial for murder, 2 of his alleged followers were also involved in a murder and kidnapping plot. By August of 2022, 21-year-old Jasmine Marie Adele Hyder and 37-year-old Crystal Pinkins had plotted to basically fake car trouble in order to rob strangers. Now, this was in Chehaw State Park in Birmingham, Alabama, and a couple were headed to hike to the waterfalls when they were flagged down by a girl who said she needed help jump-starting her car. Now, this is Michaela Paulus and Adam Semji, who were traveling, sleeping in a van in the state park, and Adam was sweet enough to want to help. He went to try to jumpstart the vehicle when Yasmin pulled out a gun on him and ordered them to empty their pockets. Now, Adam actually had his own gun, pulled it on her, yelling ensued, and Yasmin shot Adam, who shot back at her. Now, 911 calls were sent out from people who had heard the gunshots. Police arrived and they found Adam lying with 1 gunshot wound to the abdomen, and he was deceased upon arrival. Yasmin was several feet away with 4 gunshot wounds, but she was still alive. Adam's girlfriend, Michaela, was assessed. She had no injuries, but she was able to tell police exactly what occurred.
My name is Michaela, and if you're watching this, you're about to watch the story time of the time me and my boyfriend, Adam Simji, were robbed, kidnapped at gunpoint, and then how I had to watch my boyfriend be murdered in front of me. I'm excited to finally have the full story out there so that everyone knows what me and Adam went through, what his last moments were really like. Adam had gotten a van from his dad. We loved that because we road tripped a lot. One of our biggest bonding activities was we were always in the car together, going to new places and looking at whatever, anything in these little tiny areas, traveling, hiking. We loved it. August 13th, the day before everything, we left. Mom texted me and said, be safe. Last time a Florida girl and her boyfriend went on a road trip, he came back without her. And I said, we'll be fine. Adam has his gun. I was driving that morning and I was one that put Chehaw on a list of things to do, and I didn't realize how far we were going into the middle of nowhere. We were driving and we decided to go to the lake that's there, and we pull in, and then all of a sudden the gas gauge drops to empty, and I was scared that we were going to be stuck in the middle of the woods. And so I said to him, do we stop at the lake or do we just go back and get gas? Should I even turn the car off? And he's like, we should probably go get gas. So I was like, the gas gauge that was on empty is oh, you have half a tank left. And so I said to him, are we still gonna go get gas or do you just wanna find a waterfall? He's like, let's just find a waterfall. And I said, the universe must not want us to go to the lake today. Then we mapped it to Devil's Den waterfall. We're driving and then there's a woman on my left. She's waving her arms and I drive past her and then I slam on the brakes and I'm like, oh. And Adam was looking at her to be well, what does she want? And so I put it in reverse, get there, roll the window down. And she's like, do you guys have jumper cables? My car needs a jump. And I was like, nope, sorry. And Adam goes, yeah, we do right here. I had never seen this thing in my life. And he just happened to have it for this road trip. And she goes, oh, well, will you follow me down this dirt path? My car's back there. I was scared because it's suspicious. It's weird. But Adam's a very caring person who has helped many, many people on the side of the road. So I start following her down the dirt road. And Adam literally throws himself into the back of the van and grabs his gun and puts it in his waistband and says, this is how people get robbed. Adam starts doing whatever, trying to jump it. I'm not really paying too much attention because I'm like, oh, it's going to be jumped or it's going to be out. It's going to take 5 minutes. And then, you know, nothing. And he's like, oh, it's not a jump, it's not the battery, it's something else. Puts the hood down, gets in the driver's seat of the car. The steering wheel like was locked, so we thought it was like the ignition lock. I call my dad and I tell him like, hey, we're helping this girl. If it's not working, like that might not be the key to that car, or there might be a second key that's working. And that was him basically saying like, that's a little suspicious, so get out of there whenever you can. Like, I'm sitting in the driver's seat like with her feet on the ground facing us, so not like facing the steering wheel, like facing us. And I say to her like, is there anything that I can do for you? Can I like go tell a park ranger? Can I get you water? Like, can I call somebody? Like, is there anything else that I can do for you? And she, no joke, goes, yeah, there is something you can do for me. You can put your hands up. She has the gun on us, and you know, she's telling us like, turn around, put your hands up, walk into the woods. This is like where the kidnapping charge comes in, because we were taken to a second location and being held against our will. So that's what kidnapping is, legally the definition. I can't even explain to you like what was going through my mind really. I was shaking so bad, my whole body was hot. I was aware of things in a way that I didn't know was like possible. It felt like an out-of-body experience. I knew we're not gonna die. Adam has his gun. If we lose our stuff, whatever. I was the only one that had anything on me. And he was like, everything we have is in the van, just take the van, go, phone, wallet, just take it and go. And then she would just be like, keep walking. What's the password to your phone? I give her the password, because it's just my phone. I give her the password to my phone. She goes into voice memos, audio recording, and starts recording herself robbing us.
What's the credit card numbers and what's the PIN?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
You don't know the PIN?
I know the
She
PIN.
just got hers. Mine is 37. It's the green card in my wallet.
She gets like all that information, and she still has her gun on us, and she like lowers her guard for a second and like puts the gun like at like an angle and goes, I'm just playing. When she said I'm just playing, Adam pulled his gun and went here, and so he like triangulated himself, took himself away from me, and told her like, drop your gun and get on the fucking ground. And she was like, are you serious? Like, news articles have been saying like, oh, and then she said, are you serious? It wasn't like a like malicious like, are you serious? Boom boom. It was like, are you being for real? Like, she thought she was gonna die. And so then, you know, she's like, oh shit, I might die. Starts like messing with the gun. I thought that it had jammed, but after learning stuff in the trial, like she had only shot a gun 2 times in her life before that, when she was like young on a family farm, whatever. So like she didn't know how a gun worked. So she was trying to get it to work, trying to cock it. So then Adam starts shooting. And once I start shooting, like I run over to him and I'm yelling at both of them, stop, 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 stop. I think she was still standing at this point, but like he's like sitting on the ground, goes, I'm shot, shoots her one last time. Like they're like, according to the trial and the shell casings found at the scene, he shot 9 times. She shot once. She actually only fired 1 bullet. He's like, I'm shot. He's like, ow. I'm pretty sure it's Hyder, Yasmin, whatever. She told me to call 911, and so like I got up, ran. She dropped my phone when all this was happening. Right before I get on the phone with 911, like the phone's in my hand and I'm like pressing the buttons. She grabs the gun. She's sitting crisscross on the ground and has the gun, and she's like, I can't live with this. I can't. She said, I can't go to jail, and put the gun up to her head. And the 911 call starts with me screaming at her, no, put it down, do not put the gun down and move away. Don't shoot, don't. Like, I was screaming, begging her not to shoot herself in front of me. Didn't know what she was doing, cocked it, whatever, couldn't pull the trigger, puts it down, and I tell her, like, move away from the gun. And so she, like, scoots, and I'm like, and I'm on the phone with 911. She's asking, like, where is the person who shot him? And she's standing right there, and the gun is, like, 3 feet in front of her, 4 feet in front of her. And I didn't want to be like, she's right here and she's wearing this, this, and this, and then her be like, okay, boom, like, shot you now because I'm not going to go to jail. But she was like, please let me go into the woods, please let me run. And so I was muting 911 here and there, like pressing the mute button to talk to her because I didn't want them to know that she was here. Go, run into the woods. And she was like, we have a 5-year-old, like, we just needed food and water. And I was like, we had food and water. We have a cooler. We had a case of water. Like, you could have had whatever you wanted if you just asked. The cops are coming. They're gonna find her. But, like, I didn't even care at that point. It was just one less thing to worry about. If you are gone out of my sight and all I have is Adam in front of me, that's fine. But she gets up to run and she screams and says, my leg is broken. when Adam was on the ground and shot her one last time, he shattered her femur. So she literally could not run away. Adam's last words were like, "I'm shot." After that, he wasn't responding. My mom listened to the whole 911 call, so she was telling me like what happened, what I was saying. And I was like, say anything, say the word no, say something, like blink if you're like conscious. But pretty much after that, like maybe he was conscious for like 5 minutes, no, like 2-3 minutes, and then it was just groaning. And it's actually called like the death groan, where you're just like and that's it.
Yasmin told the police she knew she was going to prison and that her family lived in the woods, and so she was just asking for a ride to go and get food. She asked if Adam had died, and she said she didn't want to hurt anybody. But she also stated that another girl was with her, Crystal Pinkins. Crystal had allegedly given Yasmin the gun and planned the robbery and watched it from the woods. She had witnessed the shooting and then came up to Yasmin and asked her what she should do before she ran off into the woods. 6 hours later, Crystal Pinkins was found hiding at a remote campsite in the woods. This was allegedly where both of these women were living in tents, and she was arrested. Her 5-year-old son actually came out wielding a loaded shotgun at officers trying to protect his mother. He was taken into the care of CPS. But both Crystal and Yasmin were in custody and charged with murder, kidnapping, and robbery. Survivor Michaela was mourning the loss of her 22-year-old boyfriend murdered in front of her. They were both students at the University of Central Florida, and they planned to live the rest of their lives together. Adam was said to be her hero, a selfless man who would do anything for someone that he loved. He was a kind and gentle soul. His killers, Yasmin and Crystal, were allegedly part of a cult that was created by Rashad Jamal. Online posts showed that they had begun following him and his teachings back in 2020, and they were living normal lives back then. Yasmin, she had gone to college. She was close with her family until she dropped out of college and had not spoke to her family. She changed her Instagram handle to Cosmic Goddess. Through this time period where Yasmin was changing, she would make TikToks in a house. She moved to Oklahoma and she was working at Walmart. And then she was becoming kind of even more enthralled with these spiritual ideals. And then it appeared she didn't have anywhere to live. She was posting from cars, hotel rooms, and then open fields shortly before the murder. She had followed Rashad in the University of Cosmic Intelligence and reposted a video of Rashad. She had even tried to move to Atlanta, Georgia, where Rashad lived before he was imprisoned, a year before the murder. Crystal Pinkins was a certified nurse home health aide a few years back, and now she seemed to not be working anymore. The two women linked up about 3 months prior, began traveling together, landing in Alabama. Now multiple murders were being linked to this alleged cult, and while these two members of the cult awaited their trial in 2023, their fellow member Damien Washam was found not guilty by reason of insanity in the murder of his mother using a sword, attempted murder, and assault. It was stated that after multiple and extensive evaluations, Damien is now in the custody of the Department of Mental Health. Then in August of 2023, Rashad Jamal, or White, pleaded not guilty and was convicted of child SA and child cruelty. And this was around the same time period where the 6 people would vanish. He was sentenced to 18 years and 22 years of probation and sent to Hayes State Prison. Rashad maintained his innocence, stating that these allegations were born of jealousy and a child custody dispute, and that his conviction was basically a foregone conclusion in a racist country. You see, he and the victim's mother actually had a son together. So that's what he was referring to as far as the custody dispute. But he stated that he was being labeled a cult leader by the district attorney in that case in an effort to discredit him. And that's where all of this came from. Then in January of 2024, Crystal Pinkins and Yasmin Hyder were found guilty of murder. Yasmin pleaded guilty, so she received 35 years in prison, but Crystal pleaded not guilty and Yasmin testified against her. She received life in prison for murder, robbery, and unlawful use of a firearm, but not kidnapping. Now, that same month, which was 5 months since the disappearance of the Berkeley Six connected to this cult, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch was able to get an interview with Rashad White from prison. He denied being a cult leader entirely. He stated he did not know the 6 people who vanished and that his YouTube channel is just spiritual. In his words, "I'm just giving you my opinion on the plethora of different subjects, from metaphysics to quantum physics to molecular biology to marine biology to geography to black history to world history. I'm giving you my opinion on these things. That doesn't make me a cult leader." Rashad stated that he found out about these allegations and his connection to these disappearances from TV, and that he wasn't surprised that the police put a target on his back. He said, "I'm pretty sure I've never met these people. I get on my phone, I give a lecture, I go live, and then I get off my phone. I do not know the people in my live stream. It's too many people." Rashad explained that he had grown up in Chicago. He was surrounded by violence, poverty, drug deals, addiction, and so he turned to poetry and rapping. In 2017, he moved to Atlanta, Georgia to pursue a record deal, and he released his song God Talk. But this was the same year that he had started his YouTube channel, and he said that he started it due to the death of George Floyd. He felt compelled to be a voice for the people who had been oppressed after George was murdered in the streets. He said that he was growing tired of being persecuted by people who ran the world, and he decided that you have to stand up for what's righteous or they will come after you. He said he's not surprised that people hate him and punish him for his beliefs, and that people hated Jesus and persecuted Martin Luther King Jr. And while it seemed as though maybe his teachings were not necessarily leading people to commit murder, it was still concerning that this man that had so much influence had been convicted of doing horrific acts to a child. You see, just because this alleged cult leader was in prison doesn't mean the posts stopped. In 2024, he continued to post videos and go live. In fact, in one video, he stated, "The only law I have broken was speaking out against oppression. The only thing I'm guilty of is freeing the minds of my people and speaking out against this system, and I'll never back down from that." He has started to go live from jail through phone calls with his family. And again, all of these are being posted while he is in prison for child SA. He is also selling his lectures that are daily God talks. And still people claim that he just knew too much and was speaking the truth, and that is why he was falsely accused and sent to prison. So the Berkeley, Missouri Sheriff's Office were still working on the case of the missing Berkeley Six, and Major Steve Runge, who worked the case from the beginning, stated that he had learned that the individuals had shut off their phones, their social media, and they even tried to send them money via a Cash App, but they had never collected that money. And he does not believe that these 6 want to be found. Or I guess we should say 4, because the children don't really have a choice in this. However, in February of 2026, Major Steve Runge of Berkeley Sheriff's Office stated that the police have received a tip regarding a TikTok video appearing to feature one of the missing women, Jarrell German. Now, they have submitted a legal demand for TikTok to release user data associated with this account, and Sergeant George Irvin stated, "I know that it seems like some stuff you'd see out of a movie in Hollywood, but this is real life. These people are missing." Other than that, they still have no leads, no digital footprints. They even recovered a diary of one of the missing people, and the writings in there are what the major believes to have been brainwashing. He states it was very repetitive. It was just a whole bunch of "I am God, I am God, I am God." And it's also how to prepare for doomsday, that the end of the world is coming, and a very solid belief that we are not from here. Entirely different man has also come forward stating that his daughter's mother had kidnapped their daughter and vanished after Rashad's teachings. Reuben Mitchell stated that he lived in Tennessee, and when his daughter was 3 years old, her mother took her and left to live off the grid. While looking for them, he received a very strange message on Facebook stating that his daughter was a fake child. And apparently that's something that this group would say, a term that they would use, fake child. So he was able to connect it back to Rashad Jamal and the fact that his, daughter's mother was among this group. So he filed for emergency custody, and eventually his daughter was located at a school in Washington, D.C. So he drove there, he reunited with her, and she was shocked because she had been told that her father was dead. Ruben said that the little girl is resilient and he is just trying to give her normalcy and love. But as of today, the Berkeley 6 remain missing. Have you seen any of them? The FBI are asking for help in finding them. Michaela Wilkerson's mother has spoken to her daughter directly, saying, "Michaela, we love you. We want the best for you. We would like you to come back home. We want you to get the help that you need. Your spiritual journey is your spiritual journey. If you want to be your best self, we understand that, but we love you and we just want you to come back home." She also warns other families, if you see something that's off, please take measures to get them help as quickly as possible. I would have never imagined that I would never have known where my daughter and granddaughter are right now. So anyone with information about the group's disappearance is asked to call the Berkeley Police Department with information. Do you think that Rashad Jamal White is responsible for the crimes committed by his followers? Does it directly connect? Or is there an element of mental illness here that has caused these similar beliefs to end in tragedies? While it is strange that all of these people kind of had this man in common, and it's disturbing that this man with such a platform was convicted of such horrendous things, I'm not sure if his teachings, his videos necessarily incited crime in and of themselves. But I would love to hear your takes on that. And maybe you believe that Rashad Jamal White is really being set up, that he perhaps was falsely accused. I'm not sure if I believe that his teachings were the reason he's being accused. But we have seen many Black individuals who have been wrongfully accused due to racism, and it was later found out that they were innocent the entire time. The only thing that makes me pause with that is the fact that the victim's mother, his ex-girlfriend, is the one who came forward with this information. This poor 10-year-old went through something horrific with this man who has a platform, who has many people who are following him and looking up to him. Just because he is in prison doesn't necessarily mean that he is the cause of some of his followers also being in prison. It's an all-around very odd story that I was able to uncover, where so many people seem to be directly connected to this one university of cosmic intelligence. Possibly some delusions, possibly some spiritual psychosis happening. And so I'm not sure that anyone is in their right state of mind, and that definitely could have ended in some cases in crimes and murders. But again, please let me know what you think. And do you think he should be allowed to be posting his teachings from prison? I didn't know that that was a thing that could even happen, but literally his YouTube channel is still up and he is still posting as of like a few days ago when I'm making this video, especially if you believe that he is making murderers, essentially, with his teachings. I know this is a wild one, and anytime we get into cults, online cults, in-person cults, it's a tricky subject, and we don't really know the mindset of these people. But all I hope is that the Berkeley 6, who are still missing to this day, are found. It's the real reason I'm making this video, to get their photos and names and story out there, because there's no way that 6 people just completely vanish and are never seen again. Even if they want to go off grid, if they want to live a life on their own, just to let their family members know that they are safe, that those little kids are safe. I mean, it's been 3 years now. The kids are getting older, and what is their life like? I worry for them, and I just really want them to be found, even if they just want to say, we don't want to be a part of anything anymore, leave us alone. just to say that they're safe. So I will leave the number for the Berkeley, Missouri Police Department down below if you have any valid information that you think could help the investigation. I appreciate you always listening to these stories. Don't forget to download Cash Giraffe with my link below, and don't forget to speak up. Your voice is powerful enough, and I love you to absolute pieces. Okay, bye.